Hi, this is Dr. Ernesto from Attaboycowboy, and in today's video, I want to share with you how to survive the worst case scenario during tax season, an audit. So a few years ago, I got a letter in the mail and it said I was being audited. And I thought, oh man, that's not good. Everything I've heard about audits are not good. But I remembered back to when I was in school studying tax accounting, and my professor said, if you want to have wealth, and you want to be able to build your wealth more efficiently, you need to understand how taxes work and how tax accounting works. Very good advice. I've always taken that to heart. And what I do is I buy TurboTax. I do my own taxes, and then I have a CPA review them to give me suggestions on how to improve it. And then before I submit them, I go to taxaudit.com and buy audit insurance, right? Remember, you always have to prepare for the worst case scenario because you never know what's going to happen. I did everything as well as I could, and my CPA did. But sometimes when you're doing taxes, some things are black, some are white, but some are gray. So you may be intending to do things properly, but the IRS may not agree with you. So you have to prepare for those scenarios. And remember, paying taxes is a good thing. It's our civic duty. If you want to have a good country, you have to be a good citizen. So it's not that you are trying to cheat the tax system or cheat the IRS or the US government. It's just that you may have not allocated things properly. And if you get audited, this tax audit will come in, and what they'll do is they'll hire someone called an enrolled agent, which is basically a retired IRS agent, to come in and help you through the process. That was really cool. Like I said, my first audit was 9 months. The IRS agent would make a request to the EA, enrolled agent. They would request to me. I would meet them in a public place like a Starbucks or a library. I would give them some papers, and they would say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't give them that, let's give them this. Maybe you should bring this to clarify a little bit more. And then they would answer whatever questions I would have, and then they would also review stuff and say, hey, you know what, for the future, let me suggest you do this or do that. That was really helpful from someone that had like 30 years experience as a tax auditor for the IRS. I mean, I can't read that in a book. I learned a lot. It was like going to school. They would take the information, present it to the IRS would speak to them, and then they would bring it back to me, and then I would respond. And it's really good to have someone as a middleman. You never want to speak directly to the IRS. That's not good, because you can say things that are not in your favor, and once you say it, you can't take it back, so don't do that. It's better to hire someone. And from experience and from friends that have been audited, this process, if you had to hire a tax attorney or an accountant to represent you, it can cost you thousands of dollars. And remember, just because you hire an accountant to do your taxes doesn't mean they're gonna represent you for free during an audit. It doesn't work like that. They're gonna charge you. And some of the accountants I've hired charge up to $500 an hour. Of course, there's a whole range. That can be really expensive. And in my case, I paid $50 and that's it. I paid nothing more. I got representation for 9 months, which was awesome. Now, I got a second audit a few years later. That one lasted 6 months. And again, only $50. And again, when I say 9 months or 6 months, it's not something you're working on a daily basis. So it's really not that stressful. It's basically, they make a request for information, they give you a few weeks. You may take a few weeks to get together your receipts or whatever they're asking for. You give it to your enrolled agent, and then they have to make an appointment. That could take a few weeks or a week or whatever. They give it to the agent. They may take a few weeks reviewing it. You know what I mean? So it's just a back and forth that just takes time. It's not necessarily you're doing a whole lot of things, but you want to be prepared. And in terms of asset management, it really helps me because it helps me plan out my expenses throughout the year. Because remember, the tax code changes every year. And you want to make sure that if you have a business or you have property or whatever it is you're doing, you're planning accordingly. Always think throughout the year how you're spending stuff, how you could do things will be best in your favor. And it really helps at the end of the year when you're doing your taxes, saying, oh, I was really smart about these investments or these expenses, or putting them off to the next month, to the next tax year, because I was going to make more income that year, etc. So all this kind of planning that you have in the back of your head plays a role in the decisions I make throughout the year for my business. So it's been really efficient for me, really effective, and I'm grateful to having a good tax accounting professor for that advice. And I'm also grateful that I took the plunge and risked $50 on taxaudit.com. So remember, the higher the income, the more likely you are to be audited. So the more you make, the more likely you're going to get audited. So protect yourself. Get some insurance for that. And that'll help make things a lot easier for you and a lot less costlier. So thank you for watching. And from Los Angeles, California, this is Dr. Ernesto. Thank you. Goodbye.